Genius Insomniac, Bruce, the coolest nerd you know, and today I'm going to talk about this video where, if you haven't seen it yet, where the lady has the tirade in the store in Jefferson Mall here in Louisville, Kentucky, over a Hispanic woman allowing her friend to bring more items to the register during a transaction. We've all seen people do it. Sometimes it irks your nerves, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on the day. I know most of them I don't care, but other times I'm kind of like, really, like if you're holding up the line, I'm probably gonna have a little bit of a problem with it, but not to this effect here. If you haven't seen the video, I'll play a little bit of it. It kind of goes like this.
I think everybody here probably feels the same damn way I do. Go back to wherever the fuck you come from, lady. Tell them to go back where they belong. You're a nobodies. Just because you come from another country, it don't make you nobody. You're nobody. As far as I'm concerned, probably on welfare. The taxpayers probably paid for all that stuff. It's true. They probably paid. We probably paid for every bit of that stuff. You know that? Probably all the food they get and everything else.
Okay, so I'm not gonna play the entire video here, but there will be a link to it in the description below. Mall officials, whatever that really means. I mean, what? The people who run them, all their officials now. Anyway, mall officials, representatives of Jefferson Mall, they said that if they find the identity of the woman, that they will permanently ban her from the mall for codes of conduct. Although I do wonder, I mean, is security gonna have like a picture they're gonna like flip over? They have like flashcards of people they won't let in the mall. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. But okay, so there's two schools of thought about this video that I've been seeing online for the last few hours. One, that she's an asshole. And number two is that banning her from the mall will be violating her freedom of speech. I'm leaning more to the number one than number two. Then I think she's just an asshole. Banning her, whatever. That's cool. I have no problem with that. But I think it's interesting that people think this is a freedom of speech issue. And I know this comes up a lot when people just go off on tirades, on people say whatever they want to people, and people always talk about freedom of speech. So let's talk about what freedom of speech actually is. Okay, so freedom of speech is the right of people to express opinions privately and publicly without government interference. Make note of that, government interference. Government's not trying to keep this woman from saying what she's saying. The government is not punishing this woman. Jefferson Mall is a private entity. If they decide they don't want her there because of behavior, because of things she said, they really do have a right to that. But let's go into a little further in case you don't really understand what constitutes free speech. But I think more importantly, when people talk about freedom of speech, it's the things that are not considered freedom of speech that are most important. Kind of a short list of things that's not. Freedom of speech does not cover any speech that initiates imminent lawless action. Like, you can't just say, hey, start rioting right now. Like, you can't incite people to do something that immediately causes some type of dangerous action. Freedom of speech is also subject to defamation. And defamation is anything that would injure a person's reputation. Slander, libel, things of that nature. Libel is something you would put in print that would damage someone's reputation. Slander will be using words to someone else that would damage someone's reputation. Which is interesting because in the video, the woman turns to the crowd of people and she's trying to express her ideas of this lady, like, right here.
On welfare, the taxpayers probably paid for all that stuff. We probably paid for every bit of that stuff. You know that? Probably all the food they get and everything else.
She doesn't really know any of this stuff. Like, she doesn't know if this lady's on welfare, or everyone is paying for it through their tax dollars, anything like that. So, I mean, look, I'm no legal expert, but defamation would apply here. Well, let's look at some other things that are not covered by freedom of speech. Fighting words. Fighting words would be anything that incites anyone to commit an act of violence. Say, using very harmful words to someone in order to provoke someone to commit an act of violence towards you or towards anyone else. And other things that are not covered by free speech is stuff like sharing trade secrets, copyright information, non-disclosure agreements. You can't just go and talk about what's in a non-disclosure agreement or give out trade secrets. That's not freedom of speech. Those things are protected. There's contract law and everything that goes along with that. That's not covered under free speech to disseminate secret and anything that would violate public security. So looking at this situation, defamation could definitely come into play here. She doesn't really know this woman's situation. Fighting words, fighting words is a gray area. She may say something that could anger and cause a hateful response from this group of people, but maybe this group of people will not respond that way. So since fighting words are not necessarily universal, it's always kind of a hard one to choose. And a lot of this does point to whatever modern society deems as fighting words or unacceptable words to use against people. Even though the freedom of speech law doesn't change per se, as society changes, freedom of speech can evolve with society itself. And the reason we have this is to permit the continued building of our politics and culture and to assure self-fulfillment for each individual, our people, and guaranteed right to express any thought free from government censorship. But it's still subject to some limitation. Those limitations are there so people can't say what they want somewhere and cause harm to others. Something called the harm principle and the offense principle. And I'll put a link to those in the description. You can't use freedom of speech to violate the rights of someone else. That doesn't mean just hurt their feelings. In this instance, yeah, this woman's feelings were probably hurt, but there's some other legal ramifications there. Like I said, with the defamation, possible fighting words, not as much, but defamation, especially slander. If this woman is not on welfare, if this is untrue, she doesn't have qualified or absolute privilege to say that. And there's actually a legal term, by the way. And I'll put links to those in the description as well. Was this lady an asshole? Of course. And is this defamation of her character by me calling her an asshole? Well, not really, because an accepted definition of asshole would be irritating or contemptible person. And she fits the bill exactly. But moving past that, would what she was saying be covered under free speech? I doubt it. Now, am I a law professional? Absolutely not. But based on the laws themselves and other legal precedents, it doesn't look like she would be covered under free speech. And by the way, I'm citing a lot of this information from Cornell University's law section of their website. And at the end of the day, I'm not saying that my interpretation of any of this is the end all be all. So don't show the video and be like, well, Bruce said this on this video. If you agree or disagree with me, I would like you to go look at some of the things I've brought up so that you can make your own distinction of whether or not you think that this is freedom of speech or not. A lot of people just don't understand what freedom of speech is. Just that most people hear freedom of speech and they think, oh, well, freedom of speech, oh, it's just freedom of speech. And it's not really that way because it is subject to some limitation. And I'll tell you something that I kind of don't agree with, that there will be a big meeting in Jefferson Square so people can really come out and talk about their feelings about the video itself. Now, let me tell you why I don't completely agree with that. This kind of goes to people who disagree with the video and the lady herself, and that pretty much want to just come out and say, oh, this video made me feel this way, or this lady made me feel this way. That's an echo chamber. More than likely, the people that show up there will be echoing the same thoughts. Now, if this was a forum with people with different opinions meeting together and talking about, that would be another thing. More than likely, this is just an echo chamber of like-minded individuals coming together to complain. Feels like a safe space, and I don't really agree with that sort of thing. That doesn't do anything. Just like when you come to these videos, and I love the fact that people may disagree on some of my videos. If everyone come to my videos just to agree with me, it wouldn't be good. Like, I don't even want to create an echo chamber here. A difference of opinion is great because in between the difference of opinion is an opportunity for growth. So if you disagree, it's fine. Sound off in the comments. But regardless, if you like any of all this video, if you hate any of all this video, you know what to do down below. Like or dislike the video, share the video, follow me on Twitter at @TweetInsomniac, Snapchat at BZBets, and as always, I'm Bruce, coolest nerd you know.